Good afternoon, folks. A little bit of a late start again today. I like to start around noon, but we had some stuff going on, and so I also woke up really late because we were up late playing Rock Band with the kids last night. So everything was a jumble at the start of the day today. I do have your silver pitchers coming at you today. We're gonna look at them. We're gonna do top 10 relievers and top 10 starting pitchers, and that'll be a little bit of fun. We're going to start looking at the unicorns here in a minute. They don't have any packs to open, but I just wanted to check in on their new edition. And then we're going to open up. Looks like it's going to be 55 packs with the decimals. Trying to close out some of the collections going on there over on the live collections. We're still looking for that. Yeah, still looking for that Yogi Berra. We'll see how things go today. We're down to 7 cards, I think, left is what we need. Uh, really quick, guys. I'm going to check in on Big Bill Lee here for the Angered Unicorns. He was our big addition yesterday. Really, the only good card we had that dropped all day yesterday. This is a nice looking card. I didn't look at it a lot when we opened it yesterday. I did consider selling it to open packs with this team. For now, he's gonna pitch for us and see what he can do. Good stuff, good movement, and good control for a 94 rated card. Nothing otherworldly like you see on the Sandy Koufax or anything like that. But again, it is just a 94 rated. Kind of a low rated fastball, but really good curveball, really good slider. And he's been pitching pretty well. Struggled in his first 2 starts, but he's been lights out ever since with 8 innings, 7 innings, and 7 innings, all with 2 earned runs or less allowed, and 10 strikeouts or more. So this is a pretty good looking card. We'll see how it plays going forward. The Unicorns have made some progress, guys. They are no longer in last place in their division. They've improved to 54 and 61. Currently running 1, 2, 3, 3 and 3, 4 and 3 for the month of August. Some improvements since yesterday. Even with the tiny little improvements we made, the lineup still looks like Garbo. Jock Peterson out of the #1 slot is just not very good. I think we're gonna make some changes to the lineup. Actually, let's move. Let's swap Iglesias and Peterson, and then I'm gonna put Peterson up here somewhere. And then against, let's see, Peterson's lefty. Peterson bats lefty. I don't have a 5th outfielder to plug in there because Aquino plays. Let's see, we can play. I'm just going to leave him there, and then we'll bat him 8th against left-handed pitching. We'll call it 7th just to get that left, right, left down at the bottom of the order. We'll see if that order plays a little bit better. But overall, Jock Peterson's just not getting it done for us. 201 batting average, 18 home runs. Chris Bryant started getting it going a little bit over the last, since yesterday. He was batting, I want to say he was in the he was down in like the 230 range yesterday with not a lot of home runs. So he hit some home runs yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But something like 5 home runs yesterday. So getting it going. Now his batting average looks like it dropped just a little bit, but finally starting to hit with some power for us. And then Pete Alonso, also a pretty big disappointment out of the 4-hole, but it's just an 80 rated card, so not too surprised about that. Again, this team just doesn't have a lot going for it yet. I'm not even going to look at the Bruins today because they got nothing going on. We don't have any packs to open with either of these teams. They didn't earn us enough perfect points. And so we're just going to go ahead and log right into the decimals. I'm going to check and see. I had a couple tournaments going on, so we'll see where they're at right now. If there's any interesting games to watch, then maybe we will check in. Let's check in on this silver tournament real quick first. Fortunately, there won't be a game for 5 minutes. Probably closer to 8, since it takes 2 to 3 minutes for the tournaments to simulate. I'm not 100% positive why the tournaments take so long to simulate as opposed to the regular games. It's got to be a different server. And it's got to be running all the tournaments at the same time. So, or doing something weird because it's still only 32 teams. And maybe we're gonna get in. I don't know. We might get. Here we go. Here come the team graphics. Tabicom, CR Bug, how you guys doing today? The Decimals just won another. We just missed another Game 7 for the Decimals. 2 Game 7 wins already in this tournament as they head on to the quarterfinals against the Tokyo Giants. Looking at the team right now, I don't want to give too much away, but you can see the team right now. Not a great starter's ERA. Better on the bullpen. Not great on batting average. Kind of mediocre hitting, but first in runs scored, which is probably because they've played a billion games in this tournament already. Some big losses, some big wins, some low scoring stuff. Corbin and Hendricks. I'm going to talk a little bit about Kyle Hendricks later. But this is what you're looking at for my silver team right now. So for the lineup, I've got George Wright playing shortstop. I did put Bill Miller in at third base instead of who did I have there? I had Asdrubal Cabrera there, and so I swapped Miller out for him. Miller's been pretty good. That's a fun card. I still have Joe Charbonneau playing left field, batting third for us. That number 1 rated first baseman from yesterday, Kent Hrbek at first base. Cavanaugh, Marty Cavanaugh's a guy I didn't talk much about yesterday. He didn't make the list. He's my DH just because he provides pretty good batting across all spectrums there with 68 contact, 82 power, and 63 eye. Starlin Castro. Sam West was my number 1 center fielder from yesterday. Not impressive in this tournament, unfortunately. Astudillo, my number 1 catcher, sucking for us today. So, of course, it's my players who are giving me the duds. For anybody who's been following for a little while, I finally got Brent Suter last week, and I think I got the bad Brent Suter. He has not been great for us, so I'm a little bit disappointed. The Bronze team's been hit or miss. I don't know what they have coming up right now here in Bronze 27-31. Hope you guys are having a good Friday. Cavacom, it's good to see you. Did you decide on work next week? Did you figure it out? I'm still trying to decide what I'm doing. The Decimals are going to a Game 7 in round 1 of this tournament. Should mean they have Zach Greinke on the mound, I hope, if the team is put together right. Greinke not pitching well. Why is Ryan Yarbrough my number 1 pitcher? And I have no bullpen arm. So I obviously did not check this team out before putting it together, so I've been throwing the Bronze team up against the wall again. So obviously the next Bronze tournament I get in, I need to fix the team a little bit because I went and quick sold all of my live stuff, and so all my duplicates, and so they're gone. The weird thing with the tournaments is that they are not tied to a player. When you put a card in, it's tied to that specific card from what I can tell. So let's say you put like your third Michael Givens into the lineup, and then you go and you sell all your duplicate Michael Givenses, and one of them was the one you had in the tournament. Well, now that specific card doesn't show up in the tournament anymore, so they disappear. So while it's nice to have a basic tournament team set, like your set lineup and your set rotation and everything, it can fuck with you if you're just throwing teams in there into tournaments. Like I like to be in 3 tournaments at a time, so I don't have a ton of time because I do all the other stuff all morning. So during the mornings, my teams are just getting thrown into the tournaments. You can see my shortstop, Joe Tinker, is not playing very well for us. I'm guessing I don't have, let's see, we were at 24, so missing bullpen arms. So the computer did its best, and it just didn't work out. So even if this team wins Game 7 with Zach Greinke on the mound, I doubt they're going to go too much further in this tournament because their bullpen's going to be exhausted. And so one of the risks you take with just throwing stuff, we did make some perfect points on the Decimals, though. We were at 55 earlier. It looks like we got an achievement of some sort. Or I might have been at 56 earlier. I did put some stuff up for auction, but we'll check in on them. 82 and 33. Garrett Cole got us 100 points with a 5-hit shutout on 117 pitches. We'll get a little bit more into the team here after we do the silver tournament stuff. Other than that, if there's anything else you want to see for those, we'll talk about it a little bit later. I'm going to go ahead and get right into the silver tournament pitchers at this point. And as always, feel free to disagree with me. I think that the top of these tournaments, like the top 3 or 4, they all kind of stood out pretty quickly. But everything after that was I tried to do my best with the numbers I'm seeing, but it's a little bit of a crapshoot after you hit the number 3 or 4 pitcher. There's those ones that a lot of people are using and I get a lot of data on, and then again, it's just 1 week worth of silver tournament. So I'm going to keep, for this week, it's going to be 2 bronzes and 1 silver at a time. And then starting next Wednesday, it'll be 2 bronzes or 2 silvers and 1 bronze at a time. We'll start ramping it back up. And then we'll see where we go from there. I think the decimals are starting to reach a point where I might enter some of the big money tournaments, like the weekly stuff that you have to try to get in early. So it might just be 1 and 1 for a little bit. But we'll see what kind of data we get over the next week. I've got a little bit of a backlog of bronze stuff, so that's going to take some catching up on Monday morning. I don't do a lot on the weekends, so other than just come in and throw teams in the tournaments. But let's get on to your silver tournament relief pitchers. Coming in at number 10, 1964 Snapshot Don Larson. This is actually a starting pitcher card, but it's got pretty low stamina, and so it's getting used as a relief pitcher. Really small sample size on this one right now, but what I like is that all of his, almost 60%, so 4 of his 7 appearances are in the top 25% right now, and not a single one of them's been a dud yet. I like the ratings on it. I like 3 quality pitches out of the bullpen. Really good control and pretty good movement. The lack of stuff is alarming on this one. He's a guy who could get into trouble. He's not going to strike guys out and get out of jams, but hopefully with that movement and control, he's also not going to let up the home runs. Like he's not going to walk guys and put guys on base for free, and he's not going to let up the home runs. So he's been keeping his stats pretty good. We'll see how he does going forward. This is a card that it's here because I kind of want to keep an eye on it and see how it does going forward over the next couple weeks. And it's a pretty interesting card too. So I like it at number 10. At number 9, 2008 Snapshot Grant Balfour. I tried to make the cutoff right now, 10 appearances, which is not a ton. But like I said, there's a few relief pitchers who are getting used a lot. And then some of them that are getting used a lot are not very good, if I'm going to be totally honest with you. And that's how guys like Grant Balfour end up on the list. So that's kind of where we're at right now. That's why you're seeing some smaller sample sizes here at the lower numbers. If those other cards that get used a lot turn it around, they could easily replace these guys. But I do like this Grant Balfour card a lot. He's got good stuff and good movement. Again, the control, it's not a terribly well balanced card, but the control is not awful. But he's got 4 pitches, including a changeup, and you guys know I like these pitchers with the changeups too. So in 13 appearances, he's got just 1 in the top 100, but just a 15.4% dud percentage. So what's that? Two bad appearances right now out of his 13. So a pretty good card though. I do like his pitch ratings. They're pretty good, not super awesome except for the changeup, but having that one good pitch, even at the silver level, can be pretty useful, especially with really good stuff like this card has. I'd like to see, I don't have this card yet. I want to see more out of it going forward, though, and I suspect we will. Coming in number 8, all-time legend Dennis Baez, 18 appearances for this guy, 27% in the top 25, just the one top 100, so we're not seeing high-end stuff out of him. He does have 5 pitches. 2 of them are not very good. So he's got that good fastball, the good curveball, and then the changeup down there at the bottom that unfortunately gets cut off on the graphic. But he's got a cutter and a slider that he can mix in. His ratings at the top are a little bit more well-rounded than you see on both Larson and Balfour. I like the stuff and the control. Those are my primary ratings this year. The movement is good too, though. I moved on from movement and control last year to stuff and control this year. I'm finding better results out of guys that have good stuff and good control. So a little bit of a change in the algorithms from last year, I think. I was talking to somebody on Discord this morning about the lefties. The left-handed pitchers this year have been better than last year too, especially the starters. For whatever reason, left-handed starters seem to get crushed last year. This year, they seem to be performing a little bit better. Coming at number 7, a really interesting card to me, future legend Michael Kopech. And again, all of these cards have the potential to be rated higher, especially this one. But we just have too small of a sample size to rate him any higher than this right now. 33% of his appearances have been in the top 25, and just 1 dud so far out of all of those. I like the ratings kind of across the board. Again, I'd like to see a little bit better control out of it. But he's got 4 really, really good quality pitches down there with a fastball, curveball, slider, and changeup, all of which come in at above 65, and 3 of them above 70. So 3 quality pitches above a rating of 70 out of the bullpen from a 79 rated card is pretty awesome. especially to go with a stuff that's pushing 90. So he is also listed as a starter. His stamina is kind of mediocre for a starting pitcher at 59. I think that's 59. Yeah, 59. So people are using him out of the bullpen, and I can totally see that. I think he's good as a long reliever. Maybe even a good if you're running an opener out there, maybe a good follower for you too. But so far his card's performed really well. I hope to see it do that going forward. It's not a card I expect to see for whatever reason. I just do not pull future legend cards. I only have 2 of the entire collection right now. So, but this is a really cool card, and I like the looks of it. Coming in at number 6 with more appearances as we get up into the guys who are actually that we're actually seeing a lot. Bob Stanley, all-time legend. Bob Stanley from his peak card. This was a Red Sox guy back in the 80s. He was a fun pitcher to watch as closing for the Red Sox. We won't talk about 1986 at all today, please, but we're over that. It's been 35 years, so we'll ignore it for now. With 30 appearances, he does have just one in the top 100. If he had a little bit more high-end, even like 2 or 3 more top 100s, he'd probably be rated a little bit higher on this list. But he's here because he's got just a 6.7% dud percentage. So out of those 30 appearances he's been in, he's had just, 2 that have been bad. So I like that. You guys know I like to stay, especially in the middle portions of these lists, I like to stay away from the guys who are going to let up big innings and lose you tournaments, over and over. And so Bob Stanley is one of those guys. Good movement, good control, lower stuff. So I know we talked about liking stuff better this year, but his movement in that really, really high-end control makes up for it quite a bit here. He is a ground ball pitcher, so you're going to want infielders that can field for you. We talked about how much I love defense yesterday. I have not gone back and adjusted numbers or anything based on our conversations yet. I did not look at Ichiro and Podsednik yet either. I'm going to do that this weekend, so I'll get back to you guys on that stuff. But here's Bob Stanley at number 6. Coming in at number 5, 1993 snapshot, Xavier Hernandez. This card's got better ratings than it's a little bit more well-rounded than Stanley, but it's performing, so a lot more duds, but more high-end performance too. So in 39 appearances, he has almost a 30% dud percentage, but he's also a guy that's giving a lot of really, really good performances. So if your bullpen's kind of full and you're just looking for that guy who can maybe put you over the top, but you're not too worried about a guy who's gonna maybe have a really big flop for you, this is a card. So he's above Stanley really just because of those top 100 performances, and almost 40% of the time he's in the top 25%. So big hit or miss card here. I think that comes down to him having only 3 pitches, but he does have 3 good pitches that are rated really well. So that's what you're looking at number 5 is Xavier Hernandez. Coming in at number 4 is Brad Hand, 2020 live card. 48 appearances. This is a guy that's getting used a lot. I imagine that's a function of the fact that it is a live card, so it's probably pretty easy to get your hands on. 2 top 20s right now, 10 appearances in the top 100. That's the second most of anybody on this list. The only thing that's keeping him from going higher is his dud percentage at 20.8%. Really top end stuff. This is a guy with 2 really good pitches in that fastball and that slider. Again, just 3 pitches, so I think that I don't know exactly how all the functions work, all the algorithms. I'm not that smart, but I think that 4 pitches out of the bullpen is really a game changer for these guys, which is why you see a guy like Bob Stanley, who doesn't have necessarily the stuff or the top end pitches that a Brad Hand does, is able to avoid the bad performances because he's got a 4th pitch for whatever reason. I may be overthinking that. It's entirely possible, but Hand's a good card. It's, again, 35% at the top and just 20% dud percentage. So he's a good guy to rely on, and, again, an easy card to find. So one that you can definitely add to your bullpen. I guess we're talking about the bullpen right now. Coming in number 3, 1956 one-hit wonder Tom Acker. 32 appearances for this guy, 7 of them in the top 100, 31.3% top 25 percentage, and avoiding the duds with a 15.6 dud percentage. 95 stuff, so really top end stuff, and two really, really good pitches with a fastball and a curveball, but just the two pitches. I think this card may be outperforming itself just a little bit, but for now, it's performing just a little bit better than the other cards. Again, you know, one or two more bad performances could really knock this card down a notch. But he's had enough appearances that I think that what we're seeing out of him is mostly sustainable at 30% versus 15%. So if he's being a star twice as often as he's being a dud, then that's pretty good, and that's kind of what we're looking for on these lists. Coming in at number 2 with 47 appearances. So now we're getting into guys who are getting used a lot. Not a lot of top end here, but just 6 top 100 performances, but over 40% of the time he's in the top 25, and with just a 14% dud percentage. Jeremy Ficach, 2001 one-hit wonder from the Padres. I probably butchered his name, and I apologize for that. This is another one with just 2 pitches. For whatever reason, he's working out really well, though. With 7-2 stuff, 76 movement, and 90 control, he's performing a lot, and he's performing better than the other guys on this list right now. So again, the rating, I look at the ratings kind of at the end and try to mix and match, but he's just performing so much better than everybody else from 3 to 10. Except maybe that Kopech card could move up, and then that one other card that has no duds yet. I forgot already what his name was, but we're looking at this card at number 2 right now. I'm not in love with this card, if I'm being totally honest. It was the Don Larson that had 0 duds so far, by the way. I'm not super in love with this card with just 2 pitches, but he's got really good control, and with the sinker and the curveball, able to locate them and able to get guys out. Neutral pitcher, but he's got a cannon for an arm at 98 to 100 miles an hour. So getting guys out and getting it done for you guys in these tournaments. And finally, coming in at number 1 for your relief pitchers with 50 appearances, 3 in the top 20. So this is where you get into your high-end performance. 36% in the top 25, and just one out of every 10 is a dud right now for this guy. I don't think there's any surprises here. The 2004 Snapshot Billy Wagner card is the number 1 rated relief pitcher right now. Really high-end stuff, really high-end control, 3 really good pitches with a changeup mixed in there, and decent movement to boot. This is a kick-ass card out of your bullpen. He's pretty awesome, and he's getting it done almost all the time. He is, luckily enough, I do have him on my team, and I'm able to run him out there as my closer. So I really, really like this card out of the bullpen. He's been pretty phenomenal pretty much every time he's out there. 4 performances in the top 50, and it seems like the community mostly agrees with it because everybody's using him. He's got the most appearances on this list, and he's got the best percentage between top 25 and dud percentage on the list as well. So other relievers I looked at today were Steve Karsay, Akinori Atsuka, Seth Lugo, and Joe Page, all just barely missed. Joe Page looks like it could be a good card, but he's only been in 9 tournaments so far from what I've seen, so it's a card that I may throw on the list, that may be on the list the next time we do it. We also had Will Smith was there too. Will Smith was right about 50-50 with top 25% versus dud percentage too, though, so 25 versus 22. I have Will Smith in my bullpen. I like the card. I think it's got good ratings, but for some reason it's not going out there and performing that well. I only have 3 of these cards, I think, on this list, unfortunately. I'd like to really add some of them, but always at the whims of the packs, and so it hurts me to make these lists sometimes on these silver tournaments because it feels like you should have them when you've opened 1,200 packs, but they're harder to come by than you think. So, but that's our relief pitcher list. If you guys have any questions on that, let me know. If there's anybody you want me to look at for kind of what I'm seeing out of them, let me know that too. I'm not sure. I didn't really have anybody here that I wanted to say like, hey guys, stay away from this guy because he's getting used a lot, but he's really bad. Overall, people seem to have a pretty good grasp on the relief pitchers. At least a little bit better than some of those position players. Just doing a quick cursory glance. Yeah, there's nobody that has over like 30 appearances that is upside down on, and they're all on this list. So it seems like the community has a pretty decent grasp of who's doing well here out of the bullpen. On the starting pitching side, that changes a little bit. So one guy everybody is using, he's got the second most appearances out of anybody on the list, is Kyle Hendricks. And you're going to see Kyle Hendricks is in my rotation, so you can laugh at me and say, haha, you're running this schmuck out there. So he does have some top end with 4 top 100s out of 45 appearances, but just 15% of his appearances have shown up in the top 25%, while 35% of them have been duds. People keep running him out there, and he just doesn't seem to be that good for me. So he is not on the list right now, and he's a guy that, as of right now, if you can, I recommend staying away from him. He's in my rotation because I just don't have a lot of really good performing silver starting pitchers. So I'm going to go through and retool the silvers tonight or tomorrow and see how that team does. I didn't touch them today after I did the pitches. I just been throwing them into tournaments because life is busy. But I'm going to retool the team here within the next couple days and see if I can get it to run just a little bit better. But coming up on your top 10 starting pitchers after telling you stay away from Kyle Hendricks. Coming at number 10 is Turk Farrell, 1965 All-Star. 17 tournament appearances right now, 3 in the top 100. Not a super high top 25 percentage at just 23.3, but a pretty low dud percentage at 17.6. Of the guys who are seeing more than 15 appearances right now, 17.6 is actually a pretty good dud percentage. So probably not your ace, but you can do worse than this guy at a 4 or 5 starter, running him out there every 4 or 5 days. And he's not gonna go hopefully 0-4 and lose the entire tournament for you in the 3rd round. Coming in, he's got decent ratings across the board. He's got stuff and movement are just below 60, so I would like to see a little bit higher than that, but pretty good control and 4 decent pitches. The screwball is not very highly rated, but he's been working out pretty well. I don't think this card is going to stay on the list for very long, but once we get some of the guys that are at like 7 to 10 appearances with some more appearances, then we should see some new guys popping on the list. I think Farrell's probably the most likely on this list to fall off the next time we do it. Coming in number 9, 1964 All-Star Juan Pizarro. 12 appearances for this guy. So again, you're seeing a little bit of a small sample size here at the back end, but just a 16.7% dud percentage and a top 25 percentage of over 40. So this is another guy that isn't going to be your ace, but he's a guy that's going to not lose every time he goes out there for you, like a Kyle Hendricks apparently. Stuff is a little bit higher, control's a little bit lower, movement's about even. He's got 4 pitches, all of which are a little bit higher. He's got 1 really monster screwball pitch there that he can get people out with. Good stamina, good hold runners. Again, a good 4 or 5, maybe a number 3 pitcher for you, depending on how deep your rotation is. But I do like this card. I do not have this card. Farrell is in my rotation right now, along with Hendricks. They're my number 4 and 5 right now. Coming in at number 8, 1987 Snapshot Kelly Downs. We're getting into some higher ratings here, not a single pitch rating. Stuff, movement, and control are all above 60. Stuff is above 70. A little bit more well-rounded than those cards that are up above there. And 3 really good pitches. So he doesn't have that 4th pitch that I think would put him over the top. But out of 20 appearances, he's got just a 15% dud percentage. So just 3 bad performances out of all of those, and 35% in the top 25%. So 20-point difference between those is pretty large, especially once you start getting into top or 20 or more appearances. So I like this card, and I think it's going to perform well going forward. I don't think it'll ever be like a top 3 or 4 card, but it's definitely a card that's going to be steady for you, and it's definitely a card that's going to keep you from losing tournaments at the middle or back end of your rotation. I feel completely comfortable slotting this guy in at number 3 or 4, maybe even number 2 if your rotation's pretty decimated or pretty minimal. Coming in at number 7, Steve Blass. So he adds that 4th pitch that Kelly Downs does not have in 17 appearances. The reason he's higher than Downs is really just less duds, and it's not even by that much, it's just 2, and again, this is kind of a function of small sample size, but also that 4th pitch that he throws in there, I think allows him going forward to be just a little bit more consistent going forward and more likely to maintain his current trajectory. With 23.5% top 25 percentage and 11.8% dud percentage, It's a little bit smaller of a gap there at just 12, but I like the fact that he adds that fourth pitch. So these two are pretty close to interchangeable, pretty similar ratings on the top stuff. But I like Blast just a little bit better. But you can't go wrong with either of these guys in the middle of your rotation. Moving on up to number 6 is Scott Anderson, 1982 snapshot. With a dud percentage of just 12.5 and a top 25 percentage of 43.8. Again, one bad appearance could change all of this, but I like this card a lot. Really awesome stuff, really good control. Movement's a little bit lower, so you're probably gonna see some. You're probably gonna see him let up some home runs. So maybe not a high leverage guy, but he's a guy who can come in. He can strike guys out. Maybe more of a stopper kind of guy. Get him in there to strike a guy out and get you out of a jam if you can. Good fastball, great curveball, good slider, and then a fourth pitch, that changeup that he puts in there that sets him kind of apart from that Kelly Downs. And so far has been doing pretty well. Again, not a lot of top end performance out of these guys, but guys that are going to get stuff done for you and not again lose tournaments for you, because tournaments are such a small sample size anyway that losing twice every time this guy pitches, is a death knell for your team. So you want guys that are going to go out there and give you at least decent performances and give you a chance to win. Coming in at number 5 is, I believe, one of only 2 live cards on this list. Zach Gallen, 2020 Major League Baseball live card from the Arizona Diamondbacks. 28 appearances, 3 of them in the top 100, 35.7% top 25 percentage, and just a 10% dud percentage. I really, really like this card, guys. It's got top end stuff. It's got a great changeup, so 4 good pitches and then 1 great pitch on top of that. Or I should say 3 good pitches and 1 great pitch. Good movement and control, just a touch under 60, but that stuff that's pushing 90 is really awesome for this card. Not great stamina, which holds him back just a little bit. You're probably not going to see 7, 8, 9 inning performances out of him. But he's a guy that's going to get you through 6 and a guy that's going to do it well more often than not. Probably, I'm willing to say most of the time. Also, one of the higher numbers of appearances on our list, so it's one of those guys that the community kind of seems to think that it's going to be a good card going forward. And just a brief glance at it, you can see that it's better than the Sanderson card above it, except for the stamina. But overall, I suspect this is going to stay a top 5 card. If not move up, I could definitely see it moving up the list, depending on how things go for the next couple weeks. Coming in at number 4, our other live card, Patrick Corbin. Ratings are pretty similar, just a little bit lower on the stuff, a little bit lower on the movement, but a little bit better control. He does have 5 pitches, so he adds that 5th pitch. A little bit really similar kind of cards here, 39.6% in the top 25, just a 20% dud percentage. So again, he's pushing a 20% difference, and really the thing that's keeping Gallen below him right now is literally just sample size. If Gallen goes 5 more appearances with the same numbers, I probably would have put him above Corbin, but Corbin's 5th pitch, I think, gives him the ability going forward to sustain what he's doing. Almost 40% of the time in the top 25% through 53 appearances. You can't ignore that. That's 20 appearances in the top 25%, which is out of 1,125 total performances. That's pretty good. So I like this Patrick Corbin card. We'll see where these 2 cards go going forward. Corbin is a card that, again, we talked a little bit yesterday about some of these cards, but the live cards could very quickly, if the season starts up in June, turn into a gold card and become not eligible for these silver tournaments. So that's something to think about as well when you're looking at, if you're trying to decide whether you want to spend perfect points on these cards or not. Coming in at number 3, 2009 All-Star Ted Lilly. 32 appearances, just a 12.5% dud percentage, and 37.5 in the top 25. 4 top 100 appearances right now. This is a card. 2 pretty awesome pitches there in the fastball and the curveball, and a changeup to go with them. Top end stuff and pretty good control here at the silver level too, or I should say top end control and pretty good stuff here at the silver level. And out of the bullpen, that's good. That's good stuff. He does have a lot of stamina. This is a guy who can go deep into the game for you. I would not hesitate to put this guy as my number 1 or number 2 pitcher in a tournament. He's got 4 pitches, all of which can be effective, and then great stuff and great control. Going to let up some home runs. That's a pretty low movement for a starting pitcher, and so you're probably going to see some home runs out of him. Not a guy that you probably want to put in your bullpen as a high leverage guy, but Ted Lilly right now is performing pretty well. Moving on up to number 2. And these last 2 guys are getting used all over the place with 77 appearances out of this guy, 12 top 100 performances, 36.4% top 25 percentage. The only thing keeping him from the number 1 spot right now is that pretty high 20.8% dud percentage. At number 2 is 1948 snapshot Nels Potter. This is a guy with 6 pitches. You can't see his 6th pitch down there. I'm going to pull him up after we go back into the game, so remind me to do that. He does have 6 pitches. Pretty good stuff. Awesome control. Good movement. This is a card that has really... he does have that slider and that changeup that are a little bit lower, so he's also got really low stamina at 38, which is pretty high. He's listed as a closer, but people are using him as a starter. Or I don't know why he's listed as a closer there. His card lists him as a starter, but the card title lists him as a closer, which he must have just been used as a closer in the tournament I happened to pull the picture from. So good stuff, good control, good movement, and 6 pretty quality pitches. Well, at least 4 quality pitches and 2 that he can mix in there. Lots of top 100 stuff out of this guy. Again, the only thing keeping him from number 1 is that dud percentage at 20.8. Coming in at number 1, I don't know if this is going to be a surprise to anybody, but 80 appearances, 12 top 100 performances, 7 of the top 50 performances ever out of 1,125 performances belong to this guy with a 38.8 top 25% and just a 16.3 dud percentage is 1976 snapshot Fergie Jenkins. 5 good pitches on this card, great control, outstanding stuff, lower movement, so another guy that's going to let up some home runs at times probably, but he's not going to put people on base other than that. There's going to be strikeouts, there's going to be no walks, and there's going to be a lot of solo home runs probably. Good fastball, good sinker, good slider, that forkball down on the bottom, and then a curveball that you can mix in there. This is an awesome card. I don't have it. I wish I did. I think that he slots in. He's a great ace in the rotation for the silver tournaments, and overall, people obviously see that too. So I don't think there's really any surprise at number 1 or number 2 right now. But it was fun putting the list together anyway. This is what you're looking at for the decimals right now. So I'm running Corbin Farrell and Zach Gallen out there. Hendricks and Joe Musgrove round out my starting rotation. Maybe Hendricks will turn it around. We'll see. The ratings on the Hendricks card are actually pretty good. I'm not really understanding why it's performing so poorly, but it is. And so that's the only reason I even brought it up at the start. But everybody likes him. He's got, I think he's only one of just those 2. So Fergie Jenkins and Nels Potter and then him are the only 3 that showed up more than 45 times in the whole list. So he's a guy that everybody seems to like. He's just not getting it done. We do have Billy Wagner, Brad Hand, and Tom Acker off of our list. We talked about Will Smith already. Rich Garces, Xavier Hernandez, and Fred Holdsworth are rounding out my bullpen right now. So the cards I'd like to get opening packs right now, Fergie Jenkins, Nels Potter, Ted Lilly, obviously those 1, 2, and 3 starting pitchers on the list. And then I'd really, more out of curiosity than anything else, I want that that Michael Kopech card. Bob Stanley would be fun, and then the Jeremy Ficach card, our number 2 rated relief pitcher. So those are the cards we're looking for. And then that's pretty much it on the silver list. If you guys have any feedback, let me know. You can let me know here if you want, or you can shoot me a private message in Discord or whatever. And then I know a couple people have asked for seeing some of my other work. So next week we're gonna get back into the bronze tournament. Hopefully, I would like to say that I may be going back to work next week. I honestly don't know yet, so we'll see. That's a long story with personal stuff, and so we won't get into it. But if I go back to work next week, then we'll probably just do the Thursday and Friday streams because it'll be a little bit harder for me to pull data if I'm working 50 hours a week. And then the streams will end up being in the evening as well instead of the early afternoon, which I know is better for everybody right now since we're all kind of sitting at home waiting for the future. Let's check in on this silver tournament team. I'm going to bring up that Potter card. Another guy I want to mention real quick is John Lieber from the starters. So his 2000 snapshot card is a little bit hit or miss. So he's got 25% top 25 percentage, just a 22% dud percentage though. So that's he didn't make it onto the list because he's got a pretty high dud percentage, to be honest. But 5 of his 35 appearances right now are in the top 100, including 2 of the top 3 appearances I've seen the whole time. So he's got the number 1 and the number 3 appearances out of any tournament I've seen for these pitches. Both of those included a WHIP below 1, just a silly ERA plus, and a pretty good FIP on top of it. So I don't know if it's going to let us into this silver tournament right now. We might just have to go in and start opening some packs. I was going to go over, here we go, it's loading now. So I'm going to go over real quick just kind of how I'm pulling this data as the decimals are about to get knocked out of this tournament. Sadly, after going up 1-0 in a series, nope, they just made it 3-2. So good stuff there. They got, it's going to be another game 7 if they can move on, but they've got Joe Musgrove going today, which probably isn't good. Corbin's at 67. Tempting to force start him into this one, but I think we're just going to see what happens. So in order to get this data, I don't know if everybody probably knows this, but you can create your own kind of views, your own stat views over here. I agree. That Kopech card is pretty cool. I love the look. I love the look of the Future Legend cards as it is. They're just really cool looking cards. And he's got pretty awesome ratings for a 70. I think he's a 78, maybe a 79. But the nice thing about the Future Legend cards too is that it's not like if we got his live card, it could have similar ratings, but that's a card that could move to gold and not be eligible for these tournaments anymore. So I like the Future Legend because it's locked in. So basically what I did was I took what I wanted, all the stats that I wanted to plug into my formula. I'm not really going to go into the formula because it's being adjusted as we speak. And then you just move them to where you want. So you can just kind of move stuff around. And then what I do is I export it to disk and it'll pop up as a PDF in my web browser, which I then save as a PDF. I then go to a, because I use Excel for all of this. I'm not very good with, well, first of all, I don't own Adobe where I can edit PDFs because that shit's expensive. So I had to find a free PDF translator on the internet, and so the one I found was just this one. So I then take the PDF, I drag it in here, and then while I'm doing that, I'm going to bring up Nels Potter. I said Nels Potter. You guys, I get all my face. I forget what I'm doing, and when I start talking too much. So I was talking too much. So here comes Nels Potter. We're going to talk about this real quick and then go back into that. So 6 pitches, including a really awesome screwball and then a knuckle curve. So he's got 3 pitches that aren't great, but still, with this kind of stuff, he's able to throw that stuff in there, which makes him a pretty awesome pitcher, I think, for these silver tournaments. And then what I do is I have my, I'll just bring this over here. So I have all my folders for all these tournaments right here. So it's kind of a jumbled mess right now. This is kind of my templates. We'll just open up the silver stuff. So I download the data every day, paste it into an Excel spreadsheet, and then so for the batters, for instance, I have the pitchers are pretty simple. There's not a ton. So for the batters, I don't like, it would take like 9 separate things to separate them out. So I created a little macro here where I can pull all the batters in. I'm not going to run it because it'll fuck everything up. But I pull all the batters and it sorts them by position. And then I just hit this button and then it sorts them all out into their individual positions. It's not rocket science, I promise. I'm not going to talk about how it works because all I did was like Google shit and then plug it in until it worked. It's pretty cool. The way that it works, and it really reduces my workload a lot for this stuff. This is just here to track the tournaments. So what I end up with is a gigantic list that kind of looks like this. And then I just sort it by the tournament value. And then it just sorts them all kind of like this. And then what it does over here is once I sort it, it looks at, so I can sort them by name, right? And just go sort here. Let's go sort A to Z, and then it'll expand the selection, sort everything, and then you can see it changes. So all the AJ Pierzynski instances are now in the top 25% because it just looks at where they're sitting. So one thing I haven't figured out how to do yet because I'm not smart enough is get it to do that top 25 percentage based off of the values in this column. It's just based off of where they happen to fall in the column. So you can see Vasquez #1, Jody Davis #2, guys we already talked about. And so here's that Posey card. I didn't talk about Posey yesterday, I don't think. No, I did. I talked about him briefly, but you can see 12% of the top 25 with 44% dud percentage. Everybody's using him. So, but that's where all my data kind of comes from. And then I just kind of scroll down and look at kind of, so, oh shit, this guy's got a 0. Oh, he's only been in 3, so I can kind of ignore that. It's a guy I can kind of watch going forward. But then you see, like, say, like this Petway card's a guy that I have on my watch list. So 3 out of his 6 have been in the top 100, and just one of them's been a dud so far. So, but again, that's something that can change really fast. So you can kind of see. So up here, this is all the formulas are done based off of like how many cards are in the list and everything. So it's really, I'm sure one of you is looking at it going, man, you could do that so much better and make it so much easier for yourself. And I'm sure you're right. I'm sure there are ways. You can just take the HTML file and open it with Excel. Yeah, I'll look into that and see if maybe I can like cut my stuff in half. So I'll see. I wonder if like I could just right click and save as an Excel file or something like that. It's something I'll have to look into and try to figure out. But that's how I do all that. The pictures take a little bit. The pictures are simple, but they take a little bit more time because I haven't figured out a way in game to get both starting pitchers and relief pitchers with the innings pitched cutoffs that I want for the separate pitchers up at the same time. So they come in 2 separate files with the starters and the relievers. And so I have to drag both of them in, so it's like double what I have to do for the hitters. But it's fun. It was a learning experience for me putting all this together a couple weeks ago, and so I've just kind of run with it ever since. I am going to go through and adjust formulas because I do agree. I know Cavicom was in here yesterday. I do agree that right now on the hitters, power is favored way too much, and on the and I'm not looking at speed enough, and I think I'm overrating defense right now too. So I'm going to take a look this weekend as I'm starting to get back into the bronze stuff and see if I can't adjust the formulas to have them make a little bit more sense. Because I agree with you guys that definitely Ichiro probably needs to be on there at least, if not that Podsednik card over there in right field. We're going to go ahead and get into the decimals now. Thanks again if you have any on who crushes Nels Potter and Fergie Jenkins, right? That's for you guys to figure out. I have oh, you know what? I'm not gonna say I have a life because I don't. I just sit here in my corner office, hoping my wife's not too mad at me for being gone all day doing silly out of the park stuff. But and then I show my face to help get homework done. That's kind of life. So the Decimals won the next game after we saw their last one, 5-1. The Cheroktown Hambusters. You guys have seen them over and over in my leagues. Not as good this year as they have been in the past. So you guys will see some familiar faces here at the top of the power rankings for my bronze league. Memphis, of course, the team we lost to in the division series in our second year in rookie league when the Decimals first started coming together. WallStreetWindows.com, the team that beat us in a walk-off in the championship series of our Iron League, Stone League 2 weeks ago. And then Atlanta, the Atlanta United, who beat us on a walk-off Grand Slam in our championship series in Iron last year. So now it's these 4 teams are the bad guys, or these 3 teams and us are kind of following each other through the ranks. So when I do the Dewey Decimals retrospective, they're definitely going to be the antagonists in our story. That's going to be a lot of fun if I can actually get around to it. So I think that's going to be exciting, and we'll see if it works out. I have a little bit of an idea for what I want to do for it, and it makes me smile just thinking about it. So anyhow, the Decimals are continuing to plug away here. A little bit of a rough day today. They've lost a couple games, but they went 24-3 in July, I think. 22-4 in July. So it was an okay month for the Decimals in July. Right now they're 5-3 in August. So the Heat's starting to catch up with them maybe. Ichiro still batting leadoff, up to a 370 on base percentage. Knapp at 378 batting average with 32 home runs. Tris Speaker just won Batter of the Month for July, and is just crushing the ball now and stealing bases, and just I don't have any more good things to say about that card. Jeff Bagwell got it going on. He started hitting really, really, really well. Just had a pretty long RBI streak. He won a monthly award, I think. He won a weekly award here, and then a Batter of the Month for June. So he had won this yesterday, the Batter of the Month. So that Jeff Bagwell card is pretty awesome for a set card. Mel Ott has been pretty good, low batting average, but hitting for some power. The Ralph Kiner card I'm really kind of disappointed in right now. He is my designated hitter, and he's hitting some home runs, so he's at 22, but a really low batting average of 247. I expected a little bit more out of this card, if I'm going to be totally honest, so I'm not super happy with how it's performing. We're going to see how it goes the rest of the year, and then if he starts off struggling when we move up to silver next season, we might look into plugging Jim Bottomley back in, because that card was just performing for us year after year. So I'm not sure what's going on with this Ralph Kiner card. It could just be his I'm on a new team jitters that we see out of some of these cards every now and then, but we'll see. Gabby Hartnett continues to hit for a low average. We just don't have a catcher we can put in place of him. We're looking to finish that off today. Unfortunately, it's going to be a long shot today. I don't think we're going to get Yogi Berra today, but who knows? Crazier shit's happened. So Arenado is starting to hit for us at third base, batting 291 out of the number 8 hole. 11 home runs right now, 63 runs batted in, just a 340 on base percentage. So I'd like to see a little bit more out of him, but again, he's a perfect, but he's a live perfect, so they're kind of eh. And then Tulowitzki, that special edition Tulowitzki has been not a great hitter, but pretty awesome defensively. So at a plus 4.5 zone, 4 range factor, pretty mediocre fielding percentage, to be honest, with 10 errors. So not as great as I was hoping he would be defensively, but it is what it is. Sandy Koufax continues to be fucking awesome. Sorry for the language. Occasionally it slips out. Scherzer has been really good, but I'll tell you what, when Scherzer gets hit around, he gets hit around. He had a 4-game stretch where he got totally lit up in the middle of the season. He was 14-0 at one point, so he's starting to struggle now. Although he seems to have put it together a little bit. We just didn't score runs for him his last time out, but he had a little bit of a stretch there yesterday where he started getting hit pretty hard for a little while. We did move Randy Johnson into the rotation today. We took Oswalt and moved Oswalt into the bullpen. We put Randy Johnson into the rotation because he's just been ridiculous. And Oswalt was struggling, so I think a little bit of a smaller sample size for Oswalt might be good for him. He does have good stuff and good control for a bullpen pitcher, and he's got a pretty low rated fourth pitch. Randy Johnson's just a little bit better, I think, at this point. So anytime you can change a struggling Roy Oswalt out for a pretty awesome Randy Johnson card, it's pretty cool. We got Garrett Cole and Jacob deGrom rounding out the rotation still, and both of them. deGrom's got the highest earned run average from the rotation, but is 13-1, so that should tell you what this offense is doing right now. 740 runs scored to just 403 runs against. Second starters ERA, so the pitching staff's actually dropped from first to second. Atlanta, I believe, is first in runs against now, and so they're my nemesis at this point. The bullpen, Joe Nathan, has not been as good as I expected him to be, but that's okay. Again, I think it might be first season jitters. 29 saves right now versus I'm not sure how many blown saves. You have to get into this 2, 3, just 3 blown saves. So he's on a looks like a 10 or 15 game save streak right now. 13. So he's pretty close to what I expected, to be totally honest. A little bit higher on the earn run average, but it looks like he's got blown up 1 or 2 times. That's contributing to that. Eddie Plank and Tommy John. Well, Eddie Plank's my only setup guy right now. I probably need to set another one. Guzman's not performing right now. I've thought about moving him out. I just don't have anybody to plug him in with. I did take Kirby Yates out and dump him from my bullpen today. He was not pitching well at all. He's right here. So this was a card I threw in because he had really good stuff and 3 pretty good pitches, and I thought maybe even as a gold card, maybe he'd perform. He did not. An 803 earned run average, and that was coming down recently. So I decided to get rid of him, decided he needed to be dumped, and we brought, who did I bring up? Josh Hader. So I brought Josh Hader up into the bullpen, and hasn't been used yet. I have him listed as a specialist right now. I don't like his control rating. I think his stuff rating makes up for it a little bit, but I think that his low movement combined with low control makes him not a sure bet by any means. I think that stuff helps make up for it. I imagine he's going to let up a lot of solo home runs and probably his fair share of 2 or 3 run home runs after he walks guys too. So we'll see how he goes though. I just don't have better bullpen arm to throw out there. Well, I do, but my principles prevent me from putting Aroldis Chapman in my bullpen. So that's where we stand with the decimals right now. Yeah, so we're gonna look into our collection. We can close this out, make things a little bit easier for me to deal with here because I got a lot of stuff pulled up. Here's our collect. So here's what we're looking at. I updated the collection tracker today. So this is what we're looking at for the missions. We got 4 teams left to close out on these missions while we open 56 packs today. We need 3 American League players, 1 from the White Sox, 2 from the Yankees, 1 from the Braves, and 3 from the Mets in the National League. Right now the Mets look like they're going to be what holds us back. Just 7 cards left to close out these. All of these missions. Over here we got the collections for the individual things. You can ignore that. We've upgraded our goal, guys, from just finishing the missions to completing the entire live set. So we need 120 more cards. And this is what we're looking at over there. I'm not going to go into any of these individually yet. That's for down the road. But just know that I'm sitting over here tracking this stuff as we go to. We got a couple teams that maybe we can close out completely today. I don't have any of the teams fully complete yet, which is weird. We got 3 bronzes left we need to get. Most of what we're looking for is silver, to be honest, and makes sense considering how few of the silver players I have. Silver seems to be the biggest collection combined with the hardest one to actually get all of them of. So we'll see. That's kind of where we're sitting on all of these collections right now. So without further ado, let's buy these packs and get started. What do you guys think? Yeah, maximum just 56. So I'm gonna be honest with you guys. We need something good to happen today, or else either Nap or Tris, their position on the decimals becomes far less guaranteed if we don't get something that we can sell today. Down to just 56. We had 85 yesterday. We had 180 on Monday. We're running low on packs. I don't have a lot of cards left to quick sell. Like I said, I quick sold all of the duplicate live cards that didn't have auction value today. So we need something big to drop today. The lucky shirts weren't working, so I'm not wearing them. We've got a queue right now for our coffee mug. The lucky stuff just wasn't working. So we're just going into it. We're just jumping right into it and seeing what we can do. And we'll go ahead and start out with a bunch of iron. Kevin Ginkel, who's not helpful to anybody right now. Thank you for the good luck. Thank you. It's been a really, really rough week. We haven't had anything of note. We had the 3 live diamonds yesterday, and that was it. And two of them weren't even worth putting on auction house. So nothing interesting in that pack. So I think we're due. We won 185 without a perfect on Monday, and then 80. If this is the way it's gonna be, then we're not gonna be happy. Please don't be super slow. All 3 bronze cards that we need fall into the American League. So um, no bronzes left in the National League. We've got um, 53 silvers. Here's a gold. Eloy Jimenez. Eloy Jimenez is not one of the White Sox cards that we need. Unfortunately, we need Giolito, Grandal, or Tim Anderson from the White Sox. We do just need one of them to close out the collection mission, which would also close out the American League Central. So um, that'd be pretty cool to upgrade both of those. So a little bit of a slow start so far. Just the 1 gold through 6 packs. And the packs are opening kind of slow. Makes it harder for me to maintain my train of thought. Oh, I forgot to bring our stuff up. There we go. Now you can see what we're looking for. As always, looking for Perfect Pedro and those other guys. Petit's pretty decent gold reliever, although over the last week I've seen him get hit a little bit harder, specifically for my team. But that just might be because I suck at putting teams together too. So who really knows? The bronze Philly pack. Hello, Inaki. Hope you're having a good day. We're just opening. We got like 45 more packs while we try to close out the live collections for the decimals. Aw, thanks. That's sweet. Nothing terribly interesting here. Johnny Evers, pretty good bronze card down there. I have never been to Argentina. I hear it's a wonderful place, though. Shane Green is not a Brave that helps us out at all. I am doing very well. It's Friday, so I am ready for the weekend. I'm ready to not have to wake the kids up for school tomorrow. Yeah, these are some gross packs, guys. Some really gross packs going on right now. So that either means one of two things. That means we're just not going to have any luck today, or something good's coming up, or it's going to crash. Oh, here comes our second gold. It's Victor Robles from the Nationals, who we did need for the overall collection. So that's puts us down to 119 total that we need for the live collection. Does not help us on our missions though. Another gold, 2 golds in a row. Xander Bogaerts. That is a Red Sox player that we needed for the Red Sox mission. The last gold Red Sox that we needed. Setting us up for something good, hopefully. Down to 118 cards we need left now. So Tim Anderson, that'll close out the White Sox. All right, so the White Sox will be closed out now, and that's going to close out the American League Central as well. So a little bit of a good run there as we close them out. Bet you never thought you'd see somebody get excited about opening up a Tim Anderson card on the internet, did you guys? Martin Perez is a Red Sox that we need too, so we're getting some new cards today, so that's nice. Already got 4 that we didn't have before. I don't honestly know off the top of my head who the reward for either the White Sox or the American League Central is. So, but good start. Definitely better stuff than we did last week. We still don't have anything eminently sellable right now. So I would like to get something good, something historical, because I don't want to sell Knapp. I don't want to sell Tris. But if we don't get something good, we're going to be down to like 8 or 10 packs or something to open on Monday. Byron Buxton was a twin I needed as well. So that's another one off the full collection that we can cross off. 20 packs in right now. We closed out the White Sox and the American League Central. We just got the Yankees, the Braves, and the Mets left among our collection. Not a single diamond yet through 20 packs, though. Tyler Batchelor is not a Met that we need. Joe Beggs, 71 rated closer, Hardware Heroes from the Reds. I'm going to look that card up because it looks interesting. Whoops, that was the wrong side. $19.41 Hardware Heroes. The nothing helpful in that pack. Joe Beggs in 1941 had 5 saves. Gold Paul Dean, 1935. Let's look that one up instead. That's a gold. That's more exciting. Paul Dean, snapshot from 1935. He went 19 and 12 that year for St. Louis with a 337 earned run average. 143 strikeouts, just 55 walks, hit 9 batters, which is a lot back then apparently because it led the league. Finished 21st in the MVP voting, was 9th the year before in the MVP voting. When he went 19 and 11 with a 343 earned run average as a rookie. Keep in mind in 1934 they didn't have a Rookie of the Year award or a Cy Young award, so those are both possibly something that he would have been in the running for back then if everybody wasn't all about the hitting. We got less than 30 packs left, and I'm not liking it. Dean is on the new Medwick collection. Okay, cool. I did see there were new collections that came out today. I have not looked into them yet, so I'm not sure what's on them. I haven't looked at much lately besides the live collections, to be honest. Carlos Santana, is not an Indian that I needed. Montgomery's not a Yankee that I needed, unfortunately. Nor is Clint Frazier. Getting lots of stuff that I can quick sell, so that's fun. But not really. I want to say something about this guy, but I don't remember what it was. I saw this card somewhere, and I don't remember where it was. It might have been in a collection. It might have been when I was looking at tournament stats. I don't really know. So I'm just gonna. I should have kept my mouth shut on it because now everybody's curious, and I'm not sure what the F I'm talking about. Another quiet day of packs so far. Here's a silver, not a helpful silver. All right, we're down to our last 20. Matthew Boyd, Tigers. Not a Tiger that I needed. So, the only 3 cards I have right now that are really big money cards that would even be worth selling are Knapp, Tris Speaker, and Sandy Koufax. And even Koufax is only worth like 70, so it's not that much. And with him being the only pitcher I have that's reliable, I don't think that's one I want to get rid of. But if we get through all these packs and don't get anything else worth selling, and we're only going to have like 8 on Monday or even next week, then it becomes a little sketchier. I don't want to sell any of them because I really like them. I think they're the best card. Like, so for both Knapp and Tris Speaker, they are the best card at their position in the game, easily. With Tris, you're looking at one of the 3, 4 best cards in the game. And so you don't want to get rid of them because you're not, even if I open 900 packs, I'm not getting anything better. But at the same time, I need packs. And if we're not going to get anything else this whole week, we haven't gotten anything to sell. So this is kind of it's a lot of fun when you're making 185 packs every couple days, you know, and then you get into a little bit of a rut. Perez was an Indian that I needed, so we're down to 3 Indians left on the full collection. We gotten 6 cards knocked off today, which is nice. And this is sometimes you get into a rut where you're just and the packs just dwindle and dwindle and dwindle and dwindle, and then all of a sudden you don't have anything to open, and so the team's stuck and it stagnates, and you have to make a decision. And so I don't know what decision I'll make over the weekend. Maybe we'll get Cy Young here in the next 13 packs, and it'll make the decision for me, and we'll sell Cy Young. Not likely at this point, but again, it's one of the drawbacks of packs only, for sure. As much fun as it is when you're getting the diamonds and 2 300s and 1 set of pulls, it's It runs out eventually. You can't stay that lucky. Come on, don't die on us yet. Hard to tell if it's the servers or what that's doing that right now. Nothing even to talk about in the last 10 packs or so, 10 or 15 packs. So we're coming down into the home stretch here. Oh, here we go. It's a perfect Cody Bellinger. Oh, man, it had to be a live perfect, didn't it? So that'll be a Dodger that we get to knock off the list. It's a good live. That's one of the better live perfects, I think. I wish it would have been Acuna, because that would have at least closed the Braves out. But I guess that's better than nothing. Wasted our perfect. Oh, here's a diamond. Freeman. That is one that we already have, so make 4 packs out of that. Patrick Corbin on the Nationals. I do not need. Yeah, that Bellinger is really good. That is a good card. Maybe he plays. Does he? I don't know. I haven't looked at his ratings. Does he play center field? Will he make it hurt less to sell Tris Speaker and open 800 packs? So we at least got a live perfect and a diamond here at the end, and we got just the 2 other golds. The Xander Bogaerts and the Byron Buxton we got today. Rough week. It's been a rough week, guys. Gibbons is not an Oriole that I need to close it out. The only 2 bronze players that I need are Tanner Scott for the Orioles and Yonny Chirinos for the Rays. The only 2 bronzes in the live set that I don't have. Yonny Chirinos, of course, I've talked about time and again. He's one of the pitchers that I want to plug into my bronze rotation for my bronze tournaments. So he is being more elusive than Brent Suter at this point, though not as desired as Brent Suter was. Chirinos is a guy who has avoided my team, probably for good reason. I'm a terrible owner, and I sell all of the players who are worth anything of value at some point. So this is our last pack. So just a Cody Bellinger out of those packs. We can go finish up the White Sox collection. Yeah, I'm gonna go out to the start screen and then come back in the game. Hopefully. Of course, with my luck, I'm about to get locked out of the game, so we'll see how this works. Bad decision making. So here's where we ended up at. We did finish the White Sox today. We got that Tim Anderson. Didn't get a single Yankee, Brave, or Met out of those packs today, so not any that were terribly helpful anyway. We still need 6 players to close out these collection missions, and I knew the game was not going to want me back in there. And then as far as the total collection, we picked up Martin Perez and Xander Bogaerts from the Red Sox. We picked up Roberto Perez and Tim Anderson there in the AL Central, and Byron Buxton from the Twins. Can't forget that. We did get one of the more disappointing perfect backs that we could have possibly gotten today, in particular with Cody Bellinger. The Dodgers had already been closed out, so that wasn't particularly useful. The Acuna card would have been much more happy. We did get Victor Robles, so I guess, yeah, 3 golds. And that's pretty much what we got. Let's go check on these missions. Sort by completion percentage. Show only incomplete. We do have the Chicago White Sox, who we will close out to get Ted Lyons, starting pitcher. We do have to lock in a couple golds for this, but that's okay. It is expected because the only cards left for the White Sox are diamonds. We'll submit that, which is good news because now that's done. And all of the AL Central are complete. We get to trade that in for Bert Blyleven, 94 rated right-hand pitcher starter. We'll submit that. And that gives us a gold pack. So we do have a pack to open. Let's see what it gives us. One gold pack. Mike Proley to start it off. Bosch Schmidt. 3 bronzes and Mitch Moreland. Brian Weber. Here's our gold. Jimmy Williams. At least it's a historical gold, so it's better than nothing. Not sure what we got for duplicates. Let's see. Freeman goes for 5,000. That's pretty much a quick sell. Eloy Jimenez goes for 2,500. I'm not going to quick sell that. Let's just quick sell Freeman, and then we'll open those 4 packs. And then I'll sacrifice 500 perfect points so that we can open 4 more packs for the day. You got to figure the luck's going to kick back in at some point, right? All right, here we go. Heading into the home stretch. Again, like always, I want to say thanks for hanging out with me. Sorry that we didn't get anything terribly exciting again today. It's been I wish some of you would. I know some of you are pretty new to me this week, and last week was way more exciting. So we just didn't get anything awesome to speak of this week. But maybe next week will be better. I do appreciate the follow, Anaki. Sorry I didn't notice it when it happened. Lots of bronzes out of these cards. We get a Nemo Leibold. That one sells for a little bit. A couple hundred, I think. I hope you enjoyed the silver pitching lists. I think they came out a little bit better than the hitters. And with our last and final pack of the day, you guys tell me, do you want me to sell? No, I'm not selling Tris Speaker. That's just not going to happen. If I sell one of them, it will be Nap LaJoy. So when you come back next week, we may or may not have Nap LaJoy on the roster. Or LaJoy. I went back to my old ways. We may not have Nap back on the roster next week. So not what we wanted to do, but sometimes you have to make sacrifices for the good of the team. The Decimals did win 8-7 today. Who pitched for us? Because that was bad. Strasburg got lit up in the 9th inning and almost blew the game. Thankfully, we had Joe Nathan come on and save it. Ichiro 1 for 5. Speaker went 3 for 5. It's going to make me sad if I have to move on from any of these guys. Let's see. I wanted to look at that Blyleven card. 102, 79, 85. That's pretty comparable to In fact, that's better than DeGrom, I think. How many pitches? Just 3 pitches, though. None of which are great. So, I don't know. Blyleven might fit into the rotation. Who knows? And then we picked up, I forget who it was we got for completing the other collection, so we won't look at that. So, overall, pretty underwhelming set of packs today. And so nothing really good came out of it. So I apologize. I'll have more packs next week in some way, shape, or form. We're going to figure something out. I'm going to check on the silver tournament if it'll let me back in. Sometimes it bogs down just a little bit. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's the coffee cups lost their luck. I don't know if we lost our luck. The Decimals came back and won that series in 7 games. And they're now tied 1-1. So we're going to get at least a pack out of this tournament. So we'll have at least 1 pack to open on Monday when we come back. We're not going to sit through this whole tournament and make you guys watch that or make my family feel ignored anymore than they already do today. As they came back after going down 3-1, it was a 3-1 win for Kyle Hendricks, who I just spent my entire stream talking bad about. So, well, I guess I feel a little bit bad about that. So a nice 3-1 win there. 5-4 win. As Musgrove came through for us. Will Smith blew the save. Will Harris did not pitch, or he got through that. Not doing well for us, though. Billy Wagner pitching pretty much how I expect. Let's see, Kent Herbeck with a home run in that game. He's at 6 home runs for the tournament so far. And Game 7 was a 6-2 win, so it does not look like it was a walk-off this time. 5 runs in the 5th was what put it away. As Patrick Corbin, who's 4-0 in this tournament with a 233 earned run average, pitching really well for us as they move on to the semifinals. So the silver tournament team getting it done today. But the packs are not getting it done today. Once again, I appreciate you guys coming out, hanging out with me for just a little while of your day. The silver stuff, I'll be posting yesterday's and today's streams up on YouTube tonight at some point. I don't edit them yet. I'm trying to learn some video editing software to try to cut out all the annoying mumbling and rambling that I do every now and then. But it was fun. I appreciate you guys, and hopefully I'll see you back on Monday. It'll be either in the afternoon or the evening. I'm honestly not 100% sure yet, so we'll see. Otherwise, have a great day, guys, and we'll see you soon. Bye.